Hello, friends, and welcome to Pathologic Volume 5, Episode 2. We are returning to the land of polyominoes today, specifically pentominoes, in a FiveCells puzzle. So, let's take a look at the rules. In a FiveCells puzzle, we will divide the grid into regions of 5 orthogonally connected cells, i.e. pentominoes. Those big vocabulary words just mean sets of 5 cells that are connected horizontally and vertically to make a shape. Clued cells must have the indicated number of region borders or grid borders surrounding them. So that's exactly the same rule we have in Slitherlink, where a clue says how many borders are around that cell. So this will not have any. This 0, this 2 will have exactly 2, and you can see that in the solution. The 0 has no walls around it, the 2 has 2. And note the grid borders do count, so this 2 is covered by these 2 up here. And there's a clarification here. P pentominoes cannot have internal borders. It's just saying that the borders have to be on the outside of the shape, and the only case where that actually matters is the P shape, which is this one right here. We couldn't have a wall here, for example. That wouldn't be allowed because it's not on the border of the shape. Those are the rules of FiveCells, so it's time to solve a puzzle. We have some zeros, which I think is pretty generous in this format because we know that none of the 4 cells around that have any walls in them, which makes a 5-cell region automatically. So we can actually border those directly and get our first 2 X pentominoes in the grid. And we also have some 1s that are helpful. We got a couple 1s on the edges of the grid, so they already have their 1 wall. So the other 3 are all going to be not walls. This one just got a wall from our X, so it goes like that. We have a 2 in a corner, so it gets 2 like that. Next up, we can look the other direction. So we were looking at cases where all of the walls are already given, but we can also look at cases where all of the not wall sides are given. So, for example, this 3, we know that this is not a wall and it needs 3 walls, so the other 3 must all be walls. The same thing happening down here. And we also know that there are no internal walls. That was the clarification in the rules. So, for example, this shape doesn't double back on itself there because that would force this to be an internal wall. So this has to be a wall. Same deal here. We can't have a wall. We can't have a gap here because then we'd have a wall in the middle of the shape. So this is a wall. And in this case, we have to continue at least 1 more. So either we make a big L or we make a U pentomino, one way or the other. What else can I say really quickly like that? These 3s next to each other are interesting to me. What I'm going to say about them is if you got 2 3s next to each other, you can never have a gap in between them, I'm going to say, because that would make that a domino. Like, if this were a gap straight through, both of them would need the other 3 sides to be walled in, which would give you a domino. So I think anytime we see 2 3s next to each other, we'll be able to draw a line in between them. And so this has to escape somewhere. It goes up here. Might keep going, might not. Great. Where should I look? Let's look up in this corner. This has to go 1, 2, 3, at least that far. It could make a U here. Can it keep on going? Normally I'd say yes, except that will merge into this shape. and that'll make it too big. So it doesn't go any further. It goes over here and it's done. This here could end up being a P, or it could end up being a T. I don't think we know which yet. This little cul-de-sac needs to go out, and now that finishes a 5-cell up here. So we have ourselves a Y pentomino there. This comes down here from the dead end. We have a 1 that has found its single wall, so it is open in the other 3, and that gives us an F right there. From this corner, these both have to come out of the cul-de-sac, and we need to keep going until we get to at least 5, which is exactly 5. We got another Y there. The 2 has seen both of its edges, so it continues one more, and we've completed a P there. We've got both sides of a 2, and now we've got the 1 gap we're allowed for the 3. And so this doesn't go south, because then we'd have an internal wall, so it keeps going. And from this dead end, we need to go south, and so those are all connected, and that's 5, and that's done. The 2 has seen both of its walls, so these 2 are open. This up here needs to come down and over. It's not going to be able to join with this shape, so while it could go over here, that's still not enough. It needs to go south, and it doesn't join up with these. So this has found that it is a P. And this continues one more for it to become a 5, and that is our S complete. These both come down. The 3 here can't connect to the other shape in either direction, because either way it would force an internal wall if this were open or if this were open. So these 2 are both closed. The 3 that we started in the corner here needs to come out, can't link up with the other one to avoid the internal wall. This 3 has to come out this way. And the 2 needs another wall. So if this were to continue east, we'd have to close off the other 3, and the 2 would also get closed off, and we'd have a 3-cell figure. So this doesn't continue east, is what that means. This continues north and gets a wall over here. And these 2 shapes don't meet. This goes up and finishes itself off. This comes east. These 2 shapes can't meet. This goes east further and is done. This has to come at least 4 up. This has to come out, and these 2 can't meet. So this has to go 1 further to be 5, and it's done. The 2 is done, making an F. The 3 has to keep going, can't link up with these. So it's going to go up, and that means we have a wall right there. And that is how we solve a 5-cells.